Such a cool entrance. Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I'm Jason, as always, my co-host, the voice of MMA, Zach Partridge in the house. We got on the man, Cody Bunderson, and the Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Los Angeles Raiders.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, he's got to be super happy and bragging.
Look at him.
We haven't been relevant.
Look at the smile on his face today.
They haven't been relevant in 20 years. He's got to brag a little bit before all of his dreams and hopes get crushed.
Cody, you are grinning from ear to ear.
I love it. I love it.
Did you go to the game? You went to the. Did you go to a game a couple?
I went to the Ravens game, and then I think it looks like we're going to probably go down to the Broncos game the day after Christmas. So we'll see.
Can we get you to sit? Your volume's just a little bit low.
Let's see.
You just need to sit closer.
Or turn the volume up on your mic just a little bit.
Let's see.
Maybe it's the hat.
Maybe it's the hat.
It probably.
Oh, we lost him.
Here you go. He'll get right back. Yeah, Fiji.
I'll leave that up. He's coming. Yeah. He'll come back up.
Yeah, Fiji.
I'm going to get this.
Fiji, I knew I liked you. I knew it. One of the good guys.
Fiji's one of the good guys.
One of the good guys. Yeah, my Uncle Mike. We know Mike. He was at the game yesterday.
I saw
Dolphins fan. He's a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. We lost you there. Yeah, Fiji says F the Raiders. Just so that's my guy.
My guy.
My guy.
Must be a Broncos fan or something.
I don't know. Who cares? You know, there's a rule in our house. My kids can cheer for whoever they want. As long as it's not the Lakers or the Raiders, they can cheer for whoever they want. I mean, you get that, right? You get that being a Raiders fan is the equivalent of being a Lakers fan.
No.
Yeah.
That's crossing the line.
Wow.
I could never be a Lakers fan. I mean, they're so close to Utah now. I mean, Utah's got half the people got to gravitate towards the Raiders now.
They don't have to.
They don't have to.
No, they don't have to. Anyways, this isn't a football podcast. It's an MMA podcast.
I suppose.
So, I mean, hey, you have a really, really exciting big card coming out October 29th.
Yeah, we got a pretty big card coming up.
So a lot of the fights we've been seeing the fighters post their posters, post ticket sales, things like that. So do we know what is officially it's the equivalent of being a Cejudo fan. Do we know officially what the main event is for October 29th?
Yeah, so officially it is going to be Steven Seiler in his fight.
Okay.
With Ben Eakley.
Okay. That's a super fun fight.
It's a great fight.
Yeah. I mean, Seeley originally he was going to be fighting Josh Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, contracts had been set, and what can I say? I guess Josh Wick's grappling coach didn't like the fight.
No kidding.
Really?
That's what said no on it, huh?
Yeah. That's what turned it back. I mean, everything was good to go. Contract set, and then get a call from his manager a day later, and he's like, "Man, I apologize. This has never happened before." But he's putting the kiboshes to it because he doesn't like the matchup. So Ben Eakley and Josh Wick, they were supposed to fight for a title up in Washington about 2 weeks prior to that, and that Washington card got canceled altogether. And so, I mean, I think
their misfortune is our gain.
Yeah, it just worked. Yeah, it works out, just as well for the opponent of who Josh Wick was going to fight for a title. So
let me ask you a question about this. As a pro fighter yourself and a guy that coaches and stuff, I know it's MMA and you got to be like, you don't want to take fights that aren't, that on the same level or whatever. But there's also finding that balance of challenging your fighters too, so they can grow, right?
At this level, like. I mean, Josh Wick's like 12-4 as a professional now. Like,
right?
Yeah.
You can't be turning down fights like that. I mean, nothing against Seiler or anything, but what better way to potentially make a good name off of a UFC PFL finalist veteran? That's the way that Bobby King approached it. He's like, yes, I mean, this is the toughest fight of my career to date, but if I do beat him, look who, I get to check off that box right there that says I beat a UFC PFL veteran.
Yeah.
You know, and from everything that I was told from Wick's manager too, it was, you know, he was basically a fight away from going to the big show. So
wow, that's just I mean I've seen Josh fight in person. He's a very talented, good fighter, and I've seen him fight and beat very tough guys. And for him to say no to that matchup because of, you know, I mean, Seiler he's very good on the ground and he's very slick. But it's like, man, at that level, like to be picking and choosing fights.
I mean, you go to the UFC, I mean, you can't say, oh, this guy's a black belt. You know, I can't, you know, no.
I mean, wouldn't you, if word got back to the UFC matchmakers or Sean Shelby or the guys that sign talent, don't you think that they'd be like, wait, you turned down a fight because Steve Seiler's a bad matchup? Like, wouldn't that put some like shade on a fighter rather than?
One would think.
I don't know. That's sorry. I mean, not to get too sidetracked, but that's just kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, one would think, but I don't know.
What are some other? We see Mitch Ramirez is back on the card. We're super excited to have our guy Kent Mafaleo,
Big Kent,
making his pro debut. What are some other big fights that you're looking forward to on this card?
Another big fight that hasn't dropped yet that you'll see. We just basically finalized everything today was Eric Wallin. He's going to be fighting a guy named Tim Healy. That's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
He's out of Milwaukee. He's 7-3 as a pro. He's like a 5 or 6 fight LFA veteran.
Wow.
So pretty big fight right there.
Pretty big fight.
And that guy that I was looking on that Mitch is fighting, he's got a lot of experience. I was looking at his Tapology.
Yeah. He actually just fought for a belt up in Montana against Michael Garcia, who Mitch holds a victory over, and it was stopped in the 4th round due to an eye poke, and then it had to go to a referee's decision after that because it was into the 4th round.
Yeah.
Wow.
They did give the decision to Garcia at that point.
Wow. And so
Sula's on the card too. So it's the couples are fighting together.
He was fighting Brenda Enriquez, had a team link. So,
yeah, she's tough. That's a tough fight.
She's way tough. I think that's going to make for a very entertaining fight.
That is going to, yeah. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, all right, I like that.
Yeah. And then finally, you know, just through COVID and everything, opponents dropping out. We're finally getting Marco Simmons back on the card to fight for his title.
Oh, nice.
That we've been trying to make happen for the last few shows. He's going to be fighting a guy named Dustin Winter out of Washington. Pretty tough kid. So
you got to be tough. I mean, we both know, like, we've all been trying to search the whole country for somebody who wanted to fight Marco Simmons and getting ghosted or whatever. So props to this guy for stepping up and doing it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want that fight. I mean, there's, you know, a lot of talk and hype around Marco Simmons, and so we'll see. But I think Dustin's going to come and bring it, so it should be a good fight.
What's the most challenging thing of putting together? Because like I obviously think you know, you put a lot of effort into every show and putting on a good show, and you know, you're the MMA promotion with the Maverik Center and the big venue. What's the hardest thing about putting on shows like this that you think that people, just the normal fans, don't realize?
I think, I mean, just, you know, one is the level of talent that we're bringing in. Obviously, you know, it does require a good amount of money to bring in this amount of pros on a show and still be profitable while doing it. But also, you know, you run into a lot of challenges too, where, you know, you've got some tough kids from Vegas or tough kids from Utah, and, you know, nobody wants to fight them. You know, they're kind of picking and choosing a lot of matchups, you know, and we want to be known as the premier show, you know, not just in Utah, but, you know, in the Western U.S. that says, hey, you know, if you're fighting on this show, you're going to be a high caliber fighter. You know, we're not just bringing people to bring them in just to fill this, you know, a slot, so to speak. It's going to be, if you're fighting on our show, there's going to be a certain level of talent. You're going to have a good record, or, you know, you're going to have a certain accolade to bring with you. So it makes it challenging in itself, just in the matchmaking aspect. But you know, finding fights for certain fighters or that nobody wants to fight and things like that.
Do you ever approach them kind of as a coach to coach to be like, hey, listen, I'm a coach too. Like, do you ever try and level with coaches or managers?
I have. Yeah. I've definitely, you know, sat down, like, listen, man, I'm a coach too, a former fighter. Like, you know, I get where I completely get where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. maybe look at it from this angle. Here's what's at stake. Here's what's at line. I understand. We got this guy that you want to, he needs one more win, or he needs to get back on track. But if you're fighting for our organization, I'm not here to bring your guy in and ham feed him a bunch of bums. A bunch of whether it's independent fighters or guys with terrible records, just to get your guy a free win. We're trying to raise the talent level, so to speak, as a big regional show.
And I don't know about you, but when I look at fighters that are coming up, some of them are obviously very talented, but they don't have the sexiest records in the world. Yeah. But if I see a guy that's like, there's a guy in the UFC, for example, he just fought this last weekend, Maverik.
Yeah, Maverik.
Right?
Euros Maverik.
He fights from Alaska FC. And it seems like, we have a rule on our podcast. We don't pick guys from Alaska FC because a lot of their guys that get pushes, they fight a lot of guys. Like they'll be like 4-0 and they're feeding them like these like 0-1 guys or these 0-2 guys to pump their record to get them onto a big show. Yeah. Versus I'm like, give me a guy that's 6-3. Or 7-3 or whatever versus a guy that's 8-0 with a bunch of
look at
you know what I mean.
Like, look at your combined opponents' records, and you'll find out really quickly what type of level they've been fighting.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that MMA does right over boxing is the quality of opponents versus the quantity of wins.
Yeah,
right. So. Absolutely. It's really interesting. There's actually a fight on this card that really has my attention because I think the world talent wise of both of these guys is Cole Schaefer versus Billy Elikana.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big fight.
That's a humongous fight for both of them.
For both guys, absolutely. For both guys. That's a big win for either one of those guys. It obviously, it propels, Billy up, another win. But that's a great. It would have been the best win on his record for the guy with that already has a winning record like Cole. And Cole, coming off a loss, he definitely doesn't want to take another step backward. But at the same, props to him. Most people coming off a loss probably wouldn't want to fight Billy Elikana. But, in Sydney, I sat there and I watched the fight with Cole and his dad. And they. Both of them sat there and watched, and they saw some things that they definitely liked in the matchup, some holes where they think they could exploit, and he was eager as hell, just no questions asked. Yes, I want that fight, and also coming off loss, he goes and beats Billy Elikana, who's on a lot of people's radars, even UFC wise. Like you beat Billy Elikana, now you're right back in the mix of things.
Yeah, and I think that's the healthier, more productive mindset. If this is what you want to do for a career, right? Yeah. Like you said, it would be very, very easy. I think. Oh, there's Cole. Hey, buddy. Yeah, buddy. It would be very easy for Cole to say, I just had a loss. Like, let me like get a couple guys, and then like I'll fight a guy like Billy or whatever. Absolutely. But no, if you go in there and you fight Billy, like you said, it's like instead of looking at it as what do I have to lose versus what do I have to gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that. Even look at it. Like it's like the old football analogy. Are you playing not to lose, or are you playing to win?
Yeah.
And in the game of MMA, fight to fight, you get these fighters that are playing the game to win. Yeah. What fight progresses my career?
And the clock's ticking too. It's relative. You have such a very short window in the grand scheme of things to really perfect your craft and beat the people you need to beat to maybe get a shot. At the big show. And, props to Cole. That's, the kid's a savage, and, I really look forward to watching him put on a show in there.
I think as far as because we know what we're going to get out of a Mitch Ramirez. We know what we're going to get out of Steve Seiler and those type guys that have been around and we've seen them. But as far as guys that, we haven't seen in the fierce cage very much or before in Cole's case.
Yeah.
I think that's probably if people that really understand the sport of MMA, technically wise, and watching two guys that are like masters of their craft,
yes, absolutely,
if you will, that's about as high level of a fight as you can get.
Two very high level guys. That's a high caliber fight. Those are, that's the type of, that's the type of fight where whoever wins that fight could easily go on to a contender series fight.
Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
So, because I've trained a little bit with Cole. I talk with Cole a lot. He's somebody that I look up to and consider a close friend, especially in my own life, but especially in the MMA community as well. And I know his fight IQ level is very high in his understanding. What impressed me the most is listening to Billy break down his last fight. The end with that check kick leg break, which was super unfortunate that ended that way. But he broke it down in the cage after, and then he came into our podcast group, the Damage Plan MMA podcast group, and he broke it down in a paragraph. And it's like, oh my gosh, he's not just super talented; he's got a super high fight IQ.
I just remember sitting there watching that fight with Cole and his dad there, and Cole's level of IQ it's
through the roof.
A very high IQ, very high IQ.
I mean, he helps me break down my fights afterwards and stuff.
He's very knowledgeable.
Cody, there's another fight on there that I'm really intrigued about because I've heard some little rumors of some stuff, and we'll let the guys come on here and say what they are. But it's Steve Sharp back in the cage against Lucas Montoya. And this is a rematch because they've actually fought before back in the day.
I believe it was it WCFC or
it was a tournament.
Yeah, it was a tournament. It was a
tournament. I don't even think it's on Tapology. I was just looking. I don't think.
Yeah, it was a one-night tournament, and I think they fought 2 other opponents until they met in the finals.
Yep.
And then Steve ended up breaking Lucas's leg there in the finals and won that fight. But man, 2 legends of Utah.
Oh, it's going to be. Yeah, I can't wait for them to come on here and tell everybody what's going on. But
that one gave me chills, man. They're literally 2 legends, Utah MMA pioneers, legends. It's been around for a minute. It's both, fought at some very high levels, both, extremely talented fighters.
And unlike Steve's last fight, both ton of respect for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but even so, before this fight even happened, when I had talked to Steve was already in, and I was talking, approached Lucas about it because I know Lucas, hey, this next card that's coming up, I want on it, and I proposed the fight to him, and he goes, well, I need to make sure that Steve's cool with this because we're friends, so he goes, send me Steve's number, and he gave right then, gave Steve a call, and they had a conversation on the phone, and they both, say, nothing but respect, nothing but love for each other, we're going to beat the hell out of each other, but just want to make sure that it's cool and everything's still going to be cool after this, because if not, then I don't want to do the fight. So nothing but love and respect on both guys' ends, and it's going to make for a fantastic fight.
Both great guys. I've been training with Steve the last few months. Zach trains with Lucas.
Well,
I don't train
Lucas used to teach jiu-jitsu at our gym.
Yeah,
and then he even showed up to get ready for this fight and came and to sparring last Wednesday, and he hasn't sparred in a minute. It's been a minute, and he still has the fastest jab I've ever stood across from, and it's ridiculous.
It's funny, Cody. I hadn't seen Steve at the fight camp, because I've been doing the fight camp over the Phoenix PI, and he shows up last week, and I was like, "You're finally going to show up?" And he's like, "I saw Lucas post a video of him training last night, so I figured I better train.
Better get on it."
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, okay, what else do we got, Cody?
We see. We have
any amateurs on this card?
Yeah, we do have some amateurs. Let's we'll go finish up the rest of the pros really quick.
Cool.
Again, Mitch Ramirez and that Michael Keeney, Jerome Hatch and Clinton Williams.
Oh, I forgot. Boom.
Yeah. What's the backstory on this? Because it sounds like they were supposed to fight back in the day or wanted to fight each other back in the day. What's the backstory here?
Always been in the making. Like they've always, whether it's been offered to them multiple times or it's been actually signed before, and it's just a matchup. It's always just never, the stars didn't align and it never happened, and finally we have it.
I mean, I don't know if Clint's is well known, but he's been busy doing his own thing outside the state for a while.
Yep.
And Jerome's getting active again. I mean, this is a massive fight.
Yeah, this is a big fight.
You have like 5 main events on this card.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is. Oh man, that one's going to be a banger for sure.
Similar fighting styles too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Both big guys that want to throw down.
Both.
What weight are they fighting at?
205.
Holy cow!
And they're both probably going to walk in and weigh in at about 194 pounds. Maybe
Yeah.
193.
Oh, crazy.
Okay, well, side note before we talk about more, isn't that the right way to do it?
Yeah. Why not?
Like, I would fight at 185 pounds if I knew that the guys I was fighting were walking around 185 pounds.
Yeah, I mean they're both guys are might be walking around at 195 pounds.
Yeah.
That's kind of maybe a little heavy, but like when they're both fully training and like I don't see either one of them weighing at over 195 pounds. But why cut all the weight? Why go down to 85 and make it wrenching on ourselves? Like let's just sign up and fight. Be healthy while doing it.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, but I've always said this. Like, why? Like, why don't we just not cut weight?
Yeah. And then see, we got Austin Straley versus Teague Vigil.
Okay.
Austin, we know Austin, the former. He fought Joe Haro for the Steel Fist title the one time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that.
Good.
Austin's tough as nails. I mean, he's a little.
They're actually training together now.
Yeah, he's a little psychopath inside the cage. I remember his very last fight that he had for us on one of our FitCon shows. I mean, he's in there he's looking over at me going, just wiping the blood off of his gloves and just freaking out and just like a little pit bull in there. And Teague Vigil, he's only had one amateur fight, but he was a 2-time state champion wrestler from a 4 or 5A. And so I mean, it's stylistically, I mean, it's two little midget wrestlers going at it.
Two little midget wrestlers.
Two little Hasbulas.
Two little Hasbulas going at it.
Yeah, that should be good. Sula's fighting Brett Enriquez, so that's going to be a great fight. And, Camp Mafaleo's fighting Ahmed Sanchez.
That's a banger fight.
That's a banger for sure.
We saw Ahmed down in Price at your Challenger Series.
Yeah.
Firsthand, and that.
We
I mean, stylistically, Kent and him, it's just like, cool, let's watch this because it's going to be
Kent's going to throw some bombs. Ahmed's going to try to throw some kicks, and we're going to see who's going to go down.
He threw some wicked kicks in that fight down in Price. That was violent.
I don't know anything about Ahmed's opponent down in Price, really, but you could tell
he broke him.
He was not after their first exchange, he was not too
you could
intrigued in engaging with him much more.
His eyes were like,
for sure.
Oh, he didn't quit. He was firing back. If he's listening, I'm no disrespect to the guy at all, but you could tell
Kent doesn't have that in him though.
No.
So that's why it's going to just be like, oh my God.
There's some big boys slinging around some leather right there.
Yeah, you got to make sure that cage is reinforced for us sitting cage side to make sure nothing comes through.
It might be sliding. Except I don't see anybody shooting, so I think it'll.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be.
We might have to reinforce.
Hey, you don't know. Kent's been training at the Pit Elevated, or the Pit in Salt Lake City, and maybe with Ramsey, he's got some wrestling to his game now.
Nah,
I don't think so. I don't think so. He might have it, but he's not going to use it.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, another fight that is, two super high caliber guys is Casey Radden and Shane Shapiro.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Whoa, I didn't even know about that one. Wow,
Casey Radden and Shapiro. Yeah, Shane's
okay. All props to Casey Radden because that is a fight that a lot of people aren't looking forward to because of
nobody. Literally, like the Lance's manager, it doesn't matter whether it's with LFA, doesn't matter who it's with. They cannot find Shane Shapiro fight because nobody wants to fight him. Literally, I mean, nobody will take that fight against Shane Shapiro. He's, the dude's a killer. I mean, he's a savage black belt on the ground. He's been training at Syndicate for I don't know how many years.
Forever.
Forever. The dude's a stud, and no questions asked. Casey takes a fight.
That's going to be a banger fight too.
And if anybody don't remember the last fight that Casey had, it was fight of the night at the Maverik Center with Johan Rubio.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was a nuts fight.
Yeah, and Casey's going back to his natural weight class of 155. Before he was, a little heavy, and he said he's better diet, better think he's walking around now at his more natural weight. He's definitely more of a 55 pounder. So, man, that's gonna be a good fight.
That's a crazy fight.
That's a crazy fight too. Yep. And then we do have a couple amateur fights. Big one is Mio Strong and Tamika Jones.
Oh yeah, Mio making her MMA debut.
MMA debut. Yep.
Is it pro or amateur?
Amateur fight.
Amateur,
Yep.
okay.
Making her MMA debut at 43 years old. Tamika
Mio.
has had 5, I believe she's 3-2 as an amateur, but multiple time national champion wrestler. Mio, multiple time world champion and national champion in jiu-jitsu. She's a brown belt. So very, stylistically, should make for a good matchup between a very high caliber wrestler and a very high caliber jiu-jitsu athlete.
So one thing that I was curious with, because I know she put out there, willing to do pro or AMI. It was just kind of a, wanting to make a fair matchup, but it's going to be tough, right? Any fight for a brown belt's going to be tough making her debut because we got a lot of no's on that one as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was challenging. It was pretty challenging to find her a fight.
So where it's amateur, that limits some of the submissions that she can do as far as attacking the legs.
Yeah, I mean,
is that a concern at all for her?
She definitely has very good leg locks, but she actually is more of a knee bar toe fold type person. If you ask her that,
cool.
Not that she doesn't know heel hooks, but when you probably watch her in competition too, you'll see a lot of her submissions come via knee bar and toe fold, which was, I think she made her this last year. She made her brown belt debut at Worlds and took first there and won. I think a couple of them both were by toe folds. So yeah, I mean, she still has access to that, but also too, in having conversations with her, she's like, yeah, I mean, the leg game definitely becomes different in MMA when you can get punched in the face. Like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
definitely you have to mitigate that space and not get too close or make sure that threat's viable, because otherwise, if it's not, you're going to get punched in the face for it.
Yeah,
100%.
So yeah, and then we got Malachi Novosel coming back on the card.
Oh, Malachi's back. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Malachi's back. He's going to be fighting a kid from Team Link named Gabriel Pizarro.
Okay.
I believe it's his MMA debut, but he's, I think, 4-3 in Muay Thai.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So has a pretty extensive amateur fights in Muay Thai. So him and Malachi are going to tango. And then we do have 2 actually out-of-town guys. A guy named Giovanni Lopez and Broxton Salguero. One kid's from Vegas, another kid's, I believe, from California. That's 2 amateur bantamweight fights right there as well.
Interesting.
So
interesting. It's going to be a fun night. So forgive me if I'm wrong. So are we at 15, 16 fights for the night?
That puts us at 15 right there.
15.
15. Yep.
That's a full night of fights, and fingers crossed, no COVID, right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed, no COVID.
No COVID.
Crossing our fingers.
Yeah, just it's that hopefully not that co-main event jinx that we've been getting the last two shows. So.
2 shows, right?
2 shows, yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, so is our boy Curtis?
Is Curtis' fight not happening? Is he not fighting?
No, Chris Curtis ain't fighting.
Bummer. I thought he was on this card.
Yeah. It was originally supposed to be Eric and Chris. Yeah, due to unforeseen circumstances. The fight's just not happening anymore.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Well, everybody go find one of the fighters that we've talked about. Go to their Facebook.
Yep.
They all have links. Buy your tickets from the fighters and mark off October 29th on your calendar and see it. Come see us at the Maverik Center.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank FST Filtration, X Insurance, Mountain Land Supply, the Boomerang will be having the after party there again. And Bill, 1 second. Need a sponsor. I want to make sure I get the correct website. BecomeSolid.com. They do a lot of supplements. They've done supplements for BYU football before, BYU athletics. So,
nice.
BecomeSolid.com, X Insurance, Mountain Land Supply, FST Filtration, and Boomerang. So much appreciated to our sponsors. Much appreciated to you guys for everything that you guys do for Utah MMA.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Cody. Thanks for joining us today, man. Hey, quick, before we get off of here, if you're fighting on that card and you don't hear from us, please reach out to us and get on the schedule.
You guys, if you need help, anybody you need to get a hold of, just let me know. I'll put you in touch. So yeah, I can't wait to see that Steve and Lucas one. That should be good.
Yeah.
If we could get them on at the same time, that'd be cool.
Well, it's not. The thing is, I don't think it's going to be like the dunk, but
it's not.
It's like the dunk.
But I will say
it's not going to be the level of shit talk like that because there's obviously mutual respect. Yeah. Just to hear both guys' perspective, even from like the first fight to this fight, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was just yeah, it's perfect.
There we go. All right. We'll see you guys October 29th.
See you there.
We out. Oh, you gotta stop because I'm froze on my side.
Okay.
We're still live because my computer went down.